Hi, welcome to this first video where I'll be showing you how I create a map and a certain obstacle for our game. I'll be going all the way from sketching my entire process and into 3D modeling in Blender, and finally placing the object into Unity with textures and animations. So starting off by sketching, I always like to draw on a darker page with a lighter pencil. So this is my process in Procreate. And I begin by drawing an elevation drawing of the obstacle, later followed up by an axonometric drawing with color. So moving on into Blender, I always like to have my reference images at hand so I can look at them whenever I have to. And I begin this process by creating a cylinder, adjusting its number of vertices and size just in the inspector, and then slowly modeling up the shape that is needed based on the sketch that I created. Because the model is so simple, the process I use is also extremely basic. I just add lots of primitive shapes, adjust them as need be, very minimal changes to the shapes, mainly just size, not even adding any vertices, and slowly modeling after the sketch. So here you can see I'm trying to locate the origin point of the hammer, which will be rotating around the obstacle tower. Like everything else, the texturing process is also very simple for such a simple object. I begin by projecting the UV from view. As you can see here, I'm projecting each shape individually. The two objects, the hammer and the tower, both on the same UV layout, and exporting them as a PNG, which will then be opened in Photoshop, and using, again, the basic colors and just the marquee tool to mark the spots where the colors need to be used, and coloring them in with the bucket tool. And that's all there is to it. Finally, the object is exported into Unity as an FBX file so that I can retrieve its animation and separate the file, create an animator controller, add it onto the object, and then apply the animations as well as the textures with a material. For this project, we're using Toon Shader 2, I think it's called, which makes it very easy to create materials such as the one you're seeing on the screen. I might make a future video explaining exactly how I go about creating such materials. So now it's time for me to show you how I go about creating the map, the star map, as it's called. I begin by sketching again on the same page in Procreate, creating a plan first and then an axonometric drawing with outlines, and then indicating which parts of the map will be moving so that the programmer can knows how it has to function once it's finished. In Blender, the modeling process is only slightly more advanced than it was for the knocking hammer, because I'm in edit mode much more than I was for the other object. Here I'm selecting the same amount of vertices on each side, making sure it's symmetric. I know I could be using the mirror tool, however, it means I would have to split the cylinder, which may cause some unwanted topology problems, and this just didn't take much time at all, regardless. Here you can see probably the largest obstacle I faced in creating this map, which was figuring out how to create those side platforms which are going to be moving up and down, and meaning they have to be separate objects from the actual map itself. To solve this, I duplicated the object, the selected area of the existing object, and then modeled it accordingly to the shape that it had to fill. Then slowly adjusting the vertices, first attempting to bevel the edges, however that would create unwanted topology, and then instead adding new edge loops and moving them around to make the shape rounder with less sharp edges, which just creates a more satisfying effect once it will be added to the game. Just like for the obstacle, the map was also textured in a very simple manner by projecting the UV map from view and then moving the file into Photoshop in order to know where I'm going to be coloring with only two simple colors, using a thick brush and a marquee tool, filling in the shapes, and then exporting the texture as a PSD file into Unity. So finally, the SDX file has been added to Unity, and I can also apply the material to both objects, the child and the parent, and then just check around whether it looks fine. Thank you for watching. I'm currently already working on a second video, which will be a devlog showing the actual game, and I hope you'll watch that too.